Without water, nothing exists. It is needed for drinking water, household use, growing food, commercial and industrial uses, and groundwater to recharge the environment. For more than 100 years, the Nevada Irrigation District has been delivering high-quality water to its customers. What began as an old reservoir and canal system serving gold mines has been transformed into a modern public water system. But remember, much of that old infrastructure is still used today. NID water originates as snowmelt found in 70,000 acres of high elevation watershed near the headwaters of the Yuba River, the Bear River, and Deer Creek. And with us here in the studio is NID Assistant General Manager Greg Jones to keep us updated with what's happening to our water supply and how we can be good stewards of it. So Greg, thank you for being here. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
What can you give us a little overview of what's going on at NID right now?
Yeah, well, thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for having us here. Really entering into the winter coming up right now, and our first really big rain event of the year, and our teams are out gutting canal systems and cleaning them out, and waiting for really a lot of rain to come in the next couple days. And so what we see there is over 500 miles of open ditch irrigation systems that we have throughout the 265 acres, 1,000 acres of NID service territory. And so we've got to be pretty diligent and pretty demanding on our resources and our system in order to keep that water flowing and keeping it getting to our customers.
All right. And how many customers does NID have? How big is the actual district?
Yeah, so we serve water, both treated and irrigation water, to roughly 100,000 residents within Nevada, Yuba, and Placer counties. We've got about 6,000 customers, accounts in our irrigation raw water system, about 20,000 accounts in our treated water system in both Nevada and Yuba counties.
Okay. And let me ask you this, about how many individuals does that serve population-wise?
It's about 100,000 individuals, 100,000 mouths really within the system. But that water also contributes to roughly 30,000 acres of irrigated lands and pasture lands. So we're growing food and agriculture throughout Nevada and Placer County. Our system starts really up here in the Nevada City area, and we deliver water all the way to the city of Lincoln.
Now, drinking water, you supply drinking water to, I know some to Grass Valley and Nevada City.
Yeah, we supply some irrigation water or raw water where it's treated. Raw water where it's treated as then treated water for the cities of Nevada City and Grass Valley.
Okay, is it treated before it gets to the city, or is it?
In some parts of the city of Grass Valley in particular, we have customers that are NID customers, and so we've treated it. Nevada City has its own treatment facilities, and they treat that themselves.
And then, okay, now I have to ask you too, where I live, I get a bill from NID for my water. But I know that I have friends who live in other parts of Grass Valley that their water bill comes from the city of Grass Valley.
That's right.
What's the difference in that?
Just two water systems. Grass Valley has its own treatment plant and its own supply of water, and so they have their own distribution lines, and they keep track of their own flows and their infrastructure and their maintenance and delivery to their customers within their city limits. NID has some customers within the Grass Valley city limits as well, whom we deliver water to and treat. We have many interconnections where we work hand in hand a lot with both Nevada City, Grass Valley, the city of Auburn, and Lincoln in order to deliver water to the municipal customers.
Now, it's the same type of thing that takes effect in Grass Valley, take effect in Nevada City. Are some customers bills from the city of Lincoln or the city of Nevada City and some from NID, or how does that?
Yeah, Nevada City in particular pretty much has most of the city of Nevada City is contained within the customer base of water treatment delivery for the city of Nevada City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, someone also asked me, you mentioned that you're cleaning out, the guys are out cleaning out the ditches, keeping them flowing during the winter. Someone asked me about that, these small irrigation, these ditches. Is that irrigation water? That's not drinking water, correct?
Yeah, well, we do supply. So I mentioned there's about 500 miles of open irrigation
Mhm.
canals. Those canals go directly to about 6,000 customers who have irrigation boxes within their system. That water is delivered to their properties, and they may use that for irrigating crops or pasture lands. That water in those canals does deliver our water to the treatment plants themselves, the 6 treatment plants that we own and operate. And so at those treatment plants, they receive untreated, raw water, and then we treat that within our treated water facilities.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Something that's probably on everybody's mind. We read consistently about the repairs that are having to be made.
Yeah.
So are there any updates for the Spalding powerhouse and whatnot that you can give to us?
Well, we've been talking about this now since March of this year, when we realized that Spalding powerhouses, Powerhouse 1 and 2, which are owned, operated, and managed by the Pacific Gas and Electric, had failed. And so water, as a matter of fact, the snow melt that was so prevalent last winter was particularly unable to reach our conveyance systems below that particular point. If you can imagine an hourglass, and the top of the hourglass is the snow melt on the Sierra crest above 5,000 feet. The center of the hourglass is Lake Spalding and the powerhouses beneath Lake Spalding that are owned and managed by PG&E. And then the bottom of the hourglass is NID's delivery system, where we have Deer Creek, which goes into Scotts Flat, and we have the Bear River, which goes into Rollins Reservoir and then Combi Reservoir. Those low-level reservoirs were unable to receive the snow melt as the spring developed and the snow started to melt. They were typically would come through, and in any given year that has been for the last 100 plus years, that snow melt has been coming through Spalding and through those powerhouses and the infrastructure at Spalding, making its way into NID's distribution systems.
Well, let me ask you this: if Spalding's the top of the hourglass, as you call
The
it,
center of the hourglass.
the center, and then the reservoir, all the snow melt is the top, and it's not able to get through those powerhouses. Where does it go?
So it goes down the natural system of the Middle Yuba River and the South Yuba River.
Okay.
That's why you saw there was a lot of public outreach and information regarding the high water and cold water flows of the South Yuba River all spring and all summer long. So recreationalists got to enjoy a lot of cold running, high running water of the South Yuba River for rafting and kayaking, more than they typically would get for this particular stuff.
And what kind of effects do the low? I mean, it's kind of ironic. The state of California has been in drought for several years. Excuse me. But, the last 2 years, late 2021 and early 2022, we had, as they call it, Snowmageddon.
Yes.
And of course, last winter we had, as they refer to it, as snow apocalypse.
Yep.
So we've got all this extra snow.
Yep.
Everybody's got all kinds of water, but we're on restrictions as far as taking a shower every 5 minutes, only water in our lawn 3 days a week, 3 days a week, 2 days a week, excuse me. Why is that?
Yeah,
what's the issue there?
That issue was strictly because of this particular infrastructure drought, is what I kind of like to term it. It literally is that we could not receive the 20 feet of snow that is above 5,000 foot elevation, above Lake Spalding. And so we relied fully on rain and snowmelt that was below Lake Spalding in order to trickle into Deer Creek and the Bear River. And so all of the additional snow that we normally would get through our water rights, NID owns about 53 water rights dating back to pre-1914. We were unable to receive that water through the infrastructure that had fallen prey of damage. And so it stayed on the mountain, and it went down the South Yuba River and the Middle Yuba Rivers, and NID's systems were unable to recapture that water anywhere along those routes.
Couldn't catch it.
Couldn't catch it. Once it leaves that particular section at 5,000 foot elevation, and Spalding, if you recall, as you're going up Highway 80 or Highway 20, you get on that Highway 80, right before you reach the summit of Donner Summit, you look off to the left, and that's that reservoir down on the left, or on the north side of 80. And that is the conduit where all of the snowmelt for NID and PG&E comes from. And it has to come into Lake Spalding and get through that system, which are those two powerhouses, in order to receive water at Rollins Lake and Scotts Flat Lake. And those are our distribution reservoirs where then we distribute our water to our 27,000 customers.
All right. Okay, let's assume we have a great winter. I mean, of course, in my yard, I always had guys that are old cowboys and ranchers used to tell me if there's a lot of acorns, it's going to be a heavy winter.
Yeah.
And I got more acorns in my yard this year than I know what to do with.
Yeah.
I'm constantly raking and shoveling. Assuming we're going to have a good winter, what can we expect to happen next year?
So we can expect and we can plan for the fact that there will be more, there needs to be more repairs done to Powerhouse 1 at Spalding, to the Spalding Powerhouse. And that's estimated to start in March of 2025. We know that's going to shut off the flow of water from the spring snow melt from that same location that I'm talking about, 5,000 feet and above Spalding. It's going to be unable to make it through the powerhouses because they have to completely dry that powerhouse out and fix the second horn, which is what they call it, a pressure reducing valve, PRV horn, within the granite rock where the powerhouse actually lives. So in order to fix that second horn, which was damaged last March, they have to shut the whole thing off again, dry it out completely, and therefore all of that water that we normally would have received again through that powerhouse, which would deliver to Rollins Reservoir and Scotts Flat Lake, is going to be unable to make it through that system again. So we anticipate that although we're hopeful that PG&E can be able to expedite and fix the repairs quicker this time. They know what to do. They know how to do it. They've done it just this time before. We anticipate that at this point, they're estimating that that's going to take from about March to June or July to fix. And by then, we anticipate that most of the snowmelt will be gone.
So we're looking at another year of restrictions?
It'll be a little less than that because I think we'll be able to capture, they'll be able to open it back up, and then all of our reservoirs by that point are going to be full. So Bowman Reservoir is tapped out and full. Jackson Meadows Reservoir at the very top is tapped out and full. Falcherie, French Lake. Those are all going to be tapped out and full, and so we'll be able to start drawing on those, and we'll start be able to refill Rollins and Scotts hopefully sooner than we were this year.
You mentioned the low water levels, cleaning out the ditches and whatnot.
Yeah.
What kind of effects does the low water flow have on the lakes like Rollins and Scotts Flat and on the canals? I mean, for example, I watch the news, and down in Stockton, they have a big trouble with algae. Are we going to have that trouble here?
Well, when you get that's okay. When you get low water and low flow, you get more warmer water levels. We like cold water and fast and flowing cold water. It's good for the aquatic systems. It's good for the bacteria and algae growing, and it's good for the fish and the native populations. But it's also good for the water quality and clean water quality. So we do hope that we'll have higher reservoir levels, but it's going to be a little tricky.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. It's that time of year.
Once you get started, you can't stop either. Okay. All right. Is there anything else you want to tell us about NID?
Well, we're your local water company. We're here for the community. We have open to the public board meetings twice a month. They're on our website, nidwater.com. They're all videotaped, and you can go back and listen to previous board meetings, but we're right here in Grass Valley, and very well suited to communicate with the customers and hopefully help in any way that we can.
All right. Well, thank you, Greg. I'd shake hands
Thank you.
with you, but I've been coughing
Okay,
into my
all
hand,
right.
so I don't want to do
Appreciate
that.
it.